What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sphinx's Lair. So, for a long time now, I've been really interested in trying a certain type of video challenge. If you've been around the internet, you probably are familiar with mukbangs, where people will just eat absurdly large amounts of food. Maybe they'll try all of the various types of Lay's potato chips. Maybe they'll get a bunch of different beers or whatever. And I've always been fascinated by these videos, not because I think they would necessarily be healthy or smart to do, but they seem fun, and that's kind of the main purpose behind them, I guess, just trying out a whole bunch of stuff. So recently, I was actually on a trip to Italy and Greece, where I had the opportunity to do a whole bunch of, well, just really fun stuff. That video is going to be coming out pretty soon. But while I was there, I had a mission. So, I purchased a bunch of different snacks and like one drink, which I hope is in here because I really need a chaser for what it basically is going to amount to a giant pile of sugar. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what today is going to be about. Just trying out everything that's in here and ranking them from 1 to 10, I guess, or just giving general opinions. I don't know. But with all that being said, let's just get into it, shall we? Oh, I'm gonna regret doing this one really quick. I also should probably mention, this was all in my bag for like a couple weeks before we got back to the country because I just didn't want to eat any of it while I was there because I didn't really have a microphone or lights or anything. So all of this is going to be extremely squished. And I'm gonna try and find that drink before I really get started because I might need it after a while. Got it. Let's start with these, though. These are some type of cookie, I think. I can't read Italian. From what I can tell based on the packaging, it's some type of cookie. And the nocciola, I think is... I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure. Nocciola, however you pronounce it. I think it's hazelnut based on some of the other stuff I've had there. So, authenticity. Let's give her a whirl, shall we? Hopefully I can find one that is not just completely destroyed. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to clean this table. It's a cookie. That's exactly what I said it would be. It's definitely hazelnut. This one's really good. So if you'll see on the inside of this one, there's actually like some sort of cream filling or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, hazelnut probably. But yeah, it kind of tastes like you had a bit of chocolate cake. It's very like this stuff was in the fridge, so it's probably just a bit cold anyway, but it's it tastes a lot like you just took a bite of chocolate cake with some frosting. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a chocolate cookie that tastes a bit like cake. I'd probably say that's I'd say an 8 out of 10. I don't really have a solid reference yet, but these Grisby hazelnut cookies are pretty good, I guess. That's the name. That's not the only brand of Grisbys we've got, because we also got lemon. And yeah, this is one of the few times where there's actually just English on the packaging, so I can actually read it. Now, I don't particularly care for lemon as a flavor. It's not bad per se, but I just don't really find it appealing. Citrus flavors can be pretty good. Generally, they're not to me, but, maybe this one will change my mind. I'd be excited if it could, because lemon flavoring is one of those things that is very hit or miss to me. Especially lemon flavoring over there, because it's a lot more like actual lemon, which I'd argue is better. But, as somebody who already doesn't care for lemon flavor, let's see how lemon cookies taste, shall we? I can't tell if these are just covered in powder because they're all crushed up, or if this is meant to be like some sort of powdered sugar, but like, yeah, same as the other one. There's like some sort of lemon cream in the middle. Has a kind of Fruit Loops taste on the way out, actually. That's interesting. It's very sweet. I'm a fan of sweet food, so that's kind of okay, but this does taste eerily similar to eating a Fruit Loop, and that's kind of throwing me off if I'm being honest. It's not bad per se. I'd probably say it's more of a vanilla lemon flavor rather than just like straight lemon or straight vanilla. It's like somewhere in between those two realms, so it's not too intensely sweet, but it's not really sour either. So it's good. Probably a 7 just because it's less interesting than the chocolate one too. Like that, I guess maybe because of benefit of the doubt of like I didn't know what I was getting into there, so logically I'd be a little bit more interested in the new flavor. But yeah, I mean it's still really good. 7 out of 10. Just gotta find something from the bag of mysteries. Ooh, another cookie that I can't read any of the labels and branding for. It'd be easier to just hold them up this way so you guys can read them better. These appear to be sandwich cookies of some sort. I can't read it. I think it's again. I think it's chocolate and hazelnut. Yeah, fun fact about Italian is that if you can speak languages like French or a lot of those other Latin languages, or Romantic languages, whatever language family a lot of European languages come from, I think it's Romantic languages. They're pretty similar in a lot of ways. So if you can read French to a degree, then you can probably read at least some Italian. Um, by no means is it going to be perfect, but like you'll get a general gist of what you're trying to eat. So, and like even then, if you go to visit Europe, odds are you're going to be fine if you only speak English, because Europe is a very small, very small continent in the sense that a lot of its countries are very tightly knit together, very condensed. So odds are you're gonna run into a lot of opportunities to go like, oh hey, I'm in London one day, but in 2 hours I could be in France doing whatever. Oh, putting these back into the boxes is going to be a pain, and this one got a little bit more tossed around in the packaging than the first cookies did, but yeah, here's a bit of a perspective shot of the cookie. Yeah, it's just like chocolate cream cookie. Let's see how it is. Um, okay, so I'm not a huge fan of this one. It's not bad per se. I'd give it like a 5. But it's a darker chocolate than the cake cookie over there that's what I'm gonna refer to it as, I guess. Um, it's not bad per se, but like the chocolate's a lot darker, which I don't really like, and it tastes like it was a little bit overcooked or something. Which, if you know about biscotti, it's basically like a twice or thrice baked biscuit or something. That's like the stand-in for cookies uh, over in Italy, and they're quite good. But this tastes like a biscotti, where it's just like it feels like this thing has been cooked a couple of times, so it's got a bit of like a smoky, almost burnt flavor to it. Um, and almost kind of tastes like coffee as well. And I don't like coffee, so that's not gonna win at any points in my book. Uh, as somebody who likes sweet, likes to not taste like something is burning in his mouth, and doesn't like coffee, this thing gets a 5. It's still fundamentally solid, but call it me being a coward. I don't know. I also feel like I could use a bit of a refresher. So here's peach tea. Again, it's just one of those things where pesca, and it's got a literal picture of a peach on it. So if I didn't know what it was, I'd be a little bit of an idiot. Now I did try another one that was like cactus water or something, like cactus water green tea or something, which was interesting, but not the best. This is just peach juice. I'm not complaining. I like peach juice. That's I'd say an 8 out of 10. And I can tell that I'm going to be coming back to that a lot just because it's a good, not really neutralizer because everything is sweet, but it's a good medium to just kind of go back to every now and again, I guess. God, there's so many crumbs in here. Okay. So this one I actually don't think we got in Italy. This one we got in Greece, and it's like a cherry chocolate bar. I did actually get an opportunity to try this one before because my dad got it at I don't remember exactly where it was, but like he got it one night when he was just feeling sick and had to go back to a hotel, and didn't come out for dinner because he just wasn't feeling well. So we got this instead, and it got put in my backpack, which meant it got all over all of my stuff. And by that, I do mean that literally. I think I found chocolate in my computer's earphone jack port, which was fun to pick out afterwards. But I got to try a little bit of this because of that particular incident. Here's a good look at the inside of it. You can see it's got all that red, gooey cherry flavor. As a chocolate, it's okay. If you've ever gotten, like, one of those chocolate cherries at Christmas time, that just comes like this giant shell of chocolate with, like, a single cherry, and then the maraschino syrup, and then, like, that white sugary stuff at the bottom. Maybe that's just a local thing, I don't know. It tastes a lot like that. It's very sweet. It's chocolate and cherry. It's exactly what you'd expect it to taste like. But it's not bad, per se. I mean, okay, again, I like it. I'm probably a little bit biased because this thing is just all over my backpack now. I would say it's a little too sweet, which is weird because I like sweet flavors. It's just a little bit, like, too on the artificial sweet side for me. So I think I would give it about a 7. Same as the lemon cookies, which also kind of fell into that ballpark of just a little bit too sweet tasting. So this is another one that I broke into while I was on the trip itself. We stopped at a rest stop, and I got some good news that day. But I decided to get one of these Bueno bars. They sell them where I'm from. I don't know if they sell them all over, but this is like a more local brand that I have seen, but it was all over the place in Italy. It was just one of those things where it's like you might see it if you go to the right stores or the right convenience stores, or like import shop or something. Or maybe they're just more common than I realize. But yeah, Bueno bars are basically like a wafer covered in a chocolate crackery type powder. I don't know. You take a look at it yourself, see the texture. So it's, yeah. And then on the inside, they're filled with cream. And they come in 2 packs with bars that are separated into 4 different segments. I had one of them already while I was there just because. So they're also very crunchy because they're wafer and cookie crumb. But yeah, that's what it looks like on the inside. I did refrigerate all of these before eating them, so a lot of them are hotter. It's interesting how much temperature actually affects the taste of food. I'd say that one sits comfortably at a 9. Like, the wafer reminds me a lot of eating an ice cream cone. And it's more of a vanilla hazelnut flavor, which I think it meshes better than chocolate and hazelnut. I don't know if that's actual just hazelnut flavor is, like, to be more chocolatey in taste, or if it's something different. But I like vanilla paired with the hazelnut a lot more than I like chocolate paired with hazelnut. It tastes better to me because I generally prefer vanilla to chocolate. Yeah, 9 out of 10, really solid. Oh. This thing is probably torn to hell and back. So, yeah, here's a packaging of it. This is called a Milka bar. It's like it's your standard milk chocolate that you could find at any convenience store. I've seen, or at least heard of this chocolate where I'm from, but I've never really tried it before, and this one has a bunch of Oreos stuffed inside of it, so probably is good. Packaging is difficult to open. There. It's supposed to come as a bar. So, for reference, this right here, This was the first thing I got while I was overseas. So it was logically the one that got the most destroyed. It has been melted, it has been crushed. It is currently just in little itty bitty pieces. It's chocolate and Oreo. Let's see how that tastes. I'm sure it'll be great. That's very. It's buttery. It's sweet. It's chocolate, but like I can't quite describe exactly how it tastes to me. Drink. Oh god, yeah, that's sweet. So, fun fact: if you ever have like a sweet drink or any type of like really sweet food, and you're like having it back to back with something else that's really sweet, if you can't taste the sweet of whatever it is you just had after the big thing, or after the first thing, odds are it was probably overloading your tongue with how sweet it is. And that's exactly what happened. Peach juice, if you ever had it, you know that stuff is incredibly sweet when you taste it. I could barely taste any sweet off of this after eating this. This thing is full of sugar. um, it's very rich in flavor too. Like it tastes like you're eating a Cadbury chocolate with less buttery flavor and just more pure sugar and chocolate flavor. Plus, adding in the Oreo, it doesn't really mesh as well as I'd probably would have liked it to, if I'm being honest. I feel like I gotta give that one like a 7? No, a 6. Yeah, it handily beats out this little itty bitty biscotti piece or whatever it is. But that one is that one's a bit much, if I'm being honest. That's just too much. So, going from one chocolate that's probably a bit too much to another, this is white chocolate with a bunch of nuts inside of it. Now, I actually like white chocolate a lot more than I like regular chocolate, because again, sweet tooth, I'm guilty as charged. But after that bar of Oreo milk chocolate, I'm just kind of curious to see how much the typically sweet chocolate ups the ante. Also, I feel like in the packaging, this thing feels solid, so I think it was probably one of the only things that didn't get completely obliterated in the packaging. Let's take a look. Well, this thing is gonna mess up my audio so badly. Oh, okay. Well, aren't you a fancily designed chocolate bar? This thing had some effort put into it in terms of its design. It's like the Voss water of chocolate. It's also split into vertical bars that don't have any subdivisions, so I don't really know how you're just supposed to break off a small chunk of this. Um, but yeah, white chocolate with nuts. Let's see how that tastes. Hmm. You have my interest, chocolate. Let's see if you can keep it. Okay. Um, that one is actually kind of good. Well, okay, that's a bit reductive. This has the qualities of being salted as well as being white chocolate, so it's very sweet. It's very sweet, very slippery apparently too. But it also adds in some salt to the mix, so it doesn't come to like the overpowering sweet that the other ones have. It does kind of diminish the flavor of the white chocolate a bit, but not in a bad way. It just kind of mellows it enough where you can be comfortable eating it. I recommend this one, honestly. Yeah, if you need to see the branding again, here it is. This one's pretty good. I'd probably say this one's the first. I don't want to give it a 10. I will say it's the highest 9 so far, but I would hesitate to give it a 10. I do think that the white chocolate is a little bit too mellowed by it, but it's just at a comfortable range where I'd say you should really go for it. Peach juice shall sustain me for the rest of time. Speaking of the rest of time, here's an entire bag of tiny chocolates to try. Now, these are all just like one bite truffle type truffles? I don't know. You know those like Lindor balls or whatever? It's basically what these are, just small, tiny, whatevers. Now this one, Cual de Cacao? I, again, can't really read it, so I don't know what it means. But I think Yeah, I'm right. This is incredibly dark chocolate, from what I could tell. And if you know anything about me, it's that I don't like sweet foods. Based on this, this should probably be a good indication. I don't really like sweet, or I don't really like. I'm losing my mind. I like sweet foods. I'm not a fan of dark chocolate most of the time. It's fine, but it's not what I would normally go for. So let's see if this stuff can change my mind on that. Mm, not a fan. Not a fan of this one. I knew it was dark chocolate. I knew what I was getting into. I don't care for it. It's very, very dark chocolate. So it's just like full of cacao flavor and very, very bitter. I don't hate bitter foods necessarily, but I don't care for this. If you've ever had those like semi-sweet chocolate chips from Chip Its or whatever, I don't know if I'm branding myself too much. Oh god, it sticks in the back of your throat too. Yeah. Oh god, thank you, Peach Tea. Um. Oh god. If you can't tell, I don't really like it. It's not bad as a dark chocolate lover, but like that's a very intense dark chocolate flavor, and if you are not ready for that, you are in for some trouble. Oh, great. 60% dark. I can only assume that means I'm gonna hate this one even more than the last bit. Oh boy. I appreciate that it's at least small, so I can just kind of have it and be done. The flavor still has not left my mouth, by the way. I'm still only tasting dark chocolate. This straight up looks black. Like just a black tiny square. Even shining it directly into a light, it looks black. There is a hint of brown. They took a paint tray and they just decided to throw everything they could at the brown, and this is what they were left with. There's the smallest modicum of brown left. Hmm. Hold up. This one's interesting. Wow. Yeah. Okay, I was expecting way worse, if I'm being honest. So, this one that I just had, this one tastes way darker. Like, this one is the dark chocolate where it's like, I kind of can still get into it. It's very bitter. It's very dark, but it's not, like, overpoweringly bitter. The flavor doesn't stick on your tongue nearly as much, or, like, the back of your mouth or whatever. It's still very clearly dark chocolate, but it tastes a lot more like that sort of Chip Its semi-sweet chocolate chips that you could get at a grocery store. Not my favorite, per se, but, like, that's the sort of dark chocolate where I'm kind of in that ballpark where I would be like, yeah, I'll take some, even if it wouldn't be my go-to. That one was actually pretty good, so that might have been an overreaction on my part. Ah, Giandulio, Giandulio. I can't read you. I don't know what you are. Based on the color, I'm assuming you're strawberry or something. I'm interested. Okay. There seems to be something in the middle. It looks like a sort of layered cake. I don't know if you guys can see in this light, if I'm being honest. It looks sort of like a layered cake. There seems to be like specks of white in the middle. It's milk chocolate, so... Oh. Yeah, the specks in the middle are nuts, apparently. Okay, so this one gives me... If you've ever had toffee phase, they're these like half half spheres of toffee lined with a chocolate with a hazelnut on the inside. It's a lot what this tastes like. Just remove the toffee aspect from it entirely. That's that thing. It's not bad. Toffee phase are always kind of like the Christmas candies that I will enjoy and will eat too many of because I've got a massive sweet tooth, but like they're the tier 3 of sweets, if you will. All right, so now we're into this bar-shaped monstrosity. 70% something? I don't know. It says 70% zuccheri sugar, so I'm expecting this to taste like zucchini. It's dark chocolate again. Well, the last one wasn't too bad, so let's try this. Ah, okay. So I just broke off a piece of it. Dark chocolate with hazelnuts inside of it. I don't think I've ever been so underwhelmed by the flavor of a chocolate before. This is so muted. There is a hint of dark chocolate flavor, but it's not bad. I can't say I hate it. Oh geez, I haven't been giving any of these chocolates rankings. Okay, one, the tiny square thing, like a 4. This. When did I stop giving rankings? I genuinely forget. I think it was after the white chocolate. This is like a 3. It's pretty boring. This is like also kind of a 4. If I'm being honest, the tiny square that had like the 60% cocoa or whatever, that one somehow ended up being a surprisingly good bit of dark chocolate. Like just the perfect size, perfect ratio of sweet to bitter. And it somehow has impressed me more than a lot of these other mini ones. Now, this is once again filled with zucchini sugar, so I'm sure it'll be incredibly flavorful. But it's milk chocolate this time, so hopefully the zucchini sugar can actually show its weight a little bit more. That's the hope. Let's dig in. Love it. There is no branding on this, and I mean that quite literally. There is no stamp, no seal. It is, for all intents and purposes, a roof tile of chocolate. Just like the last one, I can't really taste much of anything from the actual initial bites of it. I will say, it does have an aftertaste, but this tastes more like a square of caramel than it does like chocolate. It's not bad. It's like a 6. It's very underwhelming. I guess like half of these have been very in your face, and then the other half of them have just kind of been completely underwhelming. So, next up, this one. It's not meant to look like this. It's meant to be a sphere. The packaging just kind of got destroyed because this was one of the ones that got stuck in my backpack. So it just got turned into this. It looks like a walnut, actually. Surprisingly tough walnut. It's mildly creamy. It's not crazy, but there's more flavor to it than there have been to most of the other stuff, so can't really complain. Yeah, it's good. I'd probably give this one like a 7. It's not the most flavorful, but like it's not underwhelming, which is something I can appreciate because most of these have been underwhelming. Finally, from the little grab baggie of Venchi chocolates that have so far been so, is pistachio. This little green boy. You are not bad. You are the lone bastion of quality in this dark Vinici world. This tastes like a yogurt-covered pretzels yogurt. Yeah, it's like if you go to the grocery store, get any brand of... Oh, wow, it's even got the salt. That's good. Doesn't taste like a chocolate, but it's quite good. It tastes a lot like those yogurt-flavored, or like those yogurt-covered pretzels you could get at a store that just like come in those little baggies, where you get a handful of them for your lunch boxes or your late night snacks or whatever. Very sweet, not overwhelmingly sweet, a hint of salt to it. I'd say this one probably sits at about a 7. I can't say I like it more than the cake cookies, but 7 even seems high, but I'm gonna stick with 7. Just seems like the right choice for now. Now, after the grab bag of chocolates, I decided to get a grab bag of cookies, because variety is the spice of life, or whatever. I'm not looking forward to these ones at all, if I'm being honest. I've had so much sugar already, and this just promises to be more And a giant mess, because again, in my backpack for however long, probably gonna be a mess. Now, I don't know how many different types of cookie there are in here, but they're all destroyed anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let's like try and line these up. I think a few of these might just be the same thing, but rebranded as well. Because looking at the packaging, there is a donut ring. There's like a donut ring version of this. Donut ring version of this, where it's a complete circle, but just like empty in the... You know what a donut is. And then there's... I think this is meant to be the heart-shaped equivalent of that. And there's another one that's like this weird rectangle-looking thing. There's some other ones that just kind of look like pretzels or like salted cookies. I don't know what these are. And that terrifies me. Bottoms up. 8 out of 10. Okay, what else? Oh, God. Okay, I got this because I thought it would be a very good variety pack. Yeah. It's filled to the brim. I'm gonna be honest. Most of these taste the same. And I don't want to have to go digging through this bag to find the one that seems to have a cherry on top of it. Just because I value both my sanity, my time, and my desire to not eat any more of these cookies. They're good. Homogeneously, I'll say 7 out of 10 just because some of them have a bit too much chocolate. Maybe realistically closer to an 8 because, again, most of them got 8s. I'm not going to keep eating these. They're an 8. I feel like I'm ranking some of these a bit too high, but I don't know. I don't have a scale, so... I forgot I had more chocolate. Okay, so this is a Kinder Egg. These are actually banned in America. I don't really know why. I had a friend visit from America who... They had never tried one before. And if you haven't tried one before, these are basically just like milk chocolate mixed with white chocolate. So they're quite good. Very sweet. And the main reason... Oh, this looks interesting. Anyway, the main reason that they are banned in America is because they come with a toy that parents want their children to not eat, which makes sense, I guess, but the eggs are pretty easy to split. Like, I've had them since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I genuinely don't know how you could possibly get your mouth stuck on the capsule. The capsules themselves are big enough to be a choking hazard, so maybe it's like for 3-year-old kids or something, where it's like, you know, if they get this chocolate, they might be in trouble. Either way, this does not actually appear to be that, which is surprising to me. It's like cocoa balls inside of a vanilla glaze or something. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is very reminiscent of like the Bueno stuff, and there appears to be like a nut on the inside of this crusted cookie powdered whatever. So, and it comes with a dipping stick, a dipstick. So I'll just carve out the hollowed out corpse of this egg. It's very hard to do, actually. Oh, okay, there's chocolate on the outside of it. So I think the idea is that this is meant to be a Kinder Surprise egg, but without the risk of it being a choking hazard by virtue of having a capsule inside of it. That's neat. I think I just like Kinder Surprise stuff. It tastes very similar to the Bueno bar, which is to be expected. They're the same company. This one's a little bit more bitter on the chocolate side of things, but not by much. Just like, you can taste the chocolate flavor a little bit more than you could with the other one. It's still good. Not my favorite, but I would say solid 8. It's not quite as good as the actual Bueno bar. And this one had a Harry Potter tie-in. So I think this is Hermione. I don't know. This looks like a bracelet. I can't say I'm a fan of J.K. Rowling as a... Oh, that's interesting. It's got like a miniature ruler, so you can use your bracelet of a Harry Potter character as a ruler, or like a measuring tape. Don't know why you would, but you can. Yeah, not a fan of J.K. Rowling personally, because I don't really agree with a lot of their stances, but I will say the books are good. Something. I've gotten tired of watching the movies just because I've seen them so many times, but like they're good movies. They're all put together. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. So, off to Neverland. And now, for the final thing that I'm hoping will be a relief from the sugar hell that I've been going through. These are Fonzies. What's Fonzie, you might be asking? Well, I don't actually know. As far as I can tell, it's some type of corn snack with cheese that is not fried, which is something that we had to Google Translate after I'd purchased it. I'm expecting these to kind of just taste like cheese puffs or something. Oh, okay. Are these white cheddar? They're also somehow not crushed to oblivion, which is impressive. And the bag is practically full, like right up to the top from the get-go, which is nice because that's not really typical. So here is a Fonzie. It's a flavor. I'm gonna have a few more just because the getting rid of the sugar taste in my mouth is top priority. And these are really helping with that. That's pretty good. Maybe it's just because everything else was a sugar rush in a bottle, sometimes literally. But these are like the only not sweet thing here, and that is a godsend after all of this. It is salty, it's slightly cheesy, it's a cheese puff. It's a cheese puff, whatever you want to call them. But like that's very a Cheeto, not cheesy. Yeah, it's very refreshing after all of this sugar. I would give it a 10 for that virtue alone, but like on its own it's probably about an 8. They're good. I enjoyed Cheetos or whatever you want to call them. They're quite good. I think I'm gonna hold on to these. I don't know about the rest of this stuff. I don't plan on throwing any of it out, but like I'm gonna end up distributing most of it through my family and friends or whatever too, right? So this is one of those things where it's like I might actually hold on to these for myself because they're quite good. But they're still an 8 out of 10. They are not exceptional in any way. They're just what they need to be right now, which is a pretty good palate cleanser for what so far has been a glut of sugary food. Okay. So, that was a whole bunch of different snacks from Italy and Greece, mostly from Italy, if I'm being honest. I enjoyed doing that, though. I don't really know what else I would do it with, especially because it seems like a lot of the time they can get very homogenous, and I honestly kind of feel like throwing up after eating all of this stuff. And I don't exactly plan on doing this kind of video often, just because I don't think I could do it health-wise. But as an experimental video, pretty fun. The video, I was planning on making a video about my trip to Italy and Greece as like a more of an entire retrospective and just saying, here's what I thought of the country. It was really cool or whatever. That video will probably come out sometime within the next week or so, just because I want to try and get something out. I've got it scripted. I'm just going to like do some final edits or whatever. But with all that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed. This video is going to haunt me for the rest of my life, just because I'll think back to this afternoon and get a cold sweat, thinking about how much sugar and fat and cholesterol and whatever else I probably consumed in less than an hour. So, if you guys enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you would show said appreciation and enjoyment by liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever. But with all that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.